everyone, and welcome to the CPA MOMS podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Kale. I'm the brand ambassador of CPA MOMS, and today we are talking about something that has become a guiding principle in my life: designing a career around your life, not the other way around. I am joined by Mayumi Young, the founder of CPA MOMS, and someone who models this philosophy so beautifully. We are going to explore what it really means to lead with your values instead of a job title, and how to create a career that actually supports the life you want, not one that constantly competes with it. I think this is one of the most life-changing conversations that I had when first joining CPA MOMS. I was so out of touch with my values, with who I really was and what I truly wanted for my life. I hadn't thought about it in years. And it's something that actually came up in my recent coffee chat with Romy. Accountants don't dream. We graduate college, we get a job, and then we put our head down and we work, and we don't look up. We don't think about what we really want in our lives, what we want our life to look like. And we certainly don't dare to dream anymore. It's like we just let all of that go. For someone who maybe feels too overwhelmed to even think about what their values or vision is, where would you tell them to start?
Good question. Hi, everyone. My name is Mayumi. I am the founder of CPA MOMS, so I'm super excited to be here with my friend Nicole. All right, values. So, good question. um, anytime anyone says that they are overwhelmed, too busy, exhausted, that whole world, that whole collective of emotions, I always sort of say, stop. Just stop what you're doing. Um, the reality is we can't get out, we can't move out of the pattern or the challenge that we're in with the same thinking that got us there to begin with. So we need to interrupt. We need a pattern interrupt. We just need a timeout. We need to give ourselves a timeout. And and that could be 15 minutes. That could be get up and go get yourself a cup of coffee. That could be go sit outside in the sun. That could be take a walk around the building. But just stop. And for some people, that stop might be, you know what? I'm canceling my meetings for the day. I can't tell you how many times I've literally just said, you know what? This day needs a reset. And I'm not going to be productive. I'm not going to be effective. And I'm not even sure I'm going to be nice to anyone that I'm interacting with today. So I'm going to clear all of my meetings today, and just express my apologies and reschedule with everyone and just say that something's come up. It's a personal matter I need to attend to. And I've never had anyone push back on that. No one's ever pried to say, well, what's going on? I mean, people are just simply not rude. But taking that afternoon or taking that day for yourself, one, makes you feel empowered immediately because you took charge of your life again. And we forget that we're sitting in the driver's seat and we have the steering wheel and the gas and the brake. And we actually have the ability to drive this car, this life. But we often go into these sort of automatic default modes. It's kind of like driving. Like you're driving along and you're like, you literally go unconscious and you don't even know how you got from point A to point B. It's like that in life sometimes. So a pattern interrupt is, let's hit the brakes, pull off, grab a Starbucks and regroup and figure out where you're headed. Now, your conversation is about values and the power of that. And for someone who's too overwhelmed to create values is fundamentally saying, you're a captain of a ship in the middle of the ocean and your motor has just given out, but you're too exhausted to draw a map on where you're going. It's, well, first of all, unfortunately, most of us put the boat in the water and started sailing without a map, without a direction, without a North Star, a true north that guides us when all of our navs go out. Like, what's that guiding light, you know? And I guess back in the day, if you were a captain of a ship and all your, if you didn't have navigation, you look up at the stars and you would identify the direction you were moving in by your North Star. So your values are in many ways your North Star. If all your nav systems go out and wonky and whatever, you can always find your way from your North Star, from your true north. So not having a set of values isn't going to help you find a direction that's going to be fulfilling and satisfying with you until you do the exercise of identifying what your values are. But your question was, well, if you feel like you can't even make space to do that, what do I do? Then for step one, create space so that you can do that exercise. Because in the absence of having a true north that guides you, I always say, if you don't have a destination, any direction will do. So, and look, you could go your whole life and never identify what your values are. You could go your whole life never navigating to true north. You could go your whole life and just go where the wind and the waves take you. That's how most of humanity lives life. And you'll have a fine life. But I think those that choose to listen to podcasts like this and be involved in conversations like this aren't trying to have an okay, fine life. For some reason, you're either not experiencing joy or fulfillment or satisfaction, or you're really like there's a a challenge that you're trying to overcome. Maybe you're really challenged in your career and feeling undervalued or not seen, or maybe you're challenged in your family because you're working too much and you're not able to be present to your family and your children, or you've compromised your well-being because you've overworked and now you're just completely exhausted and you know you've got nothing left in your tank. Like you could be literally like, the lights are flashing on the dashboard and there's something that needs attention and you're looking for a way out. Or you're just looking for a better life. Like you want to create something better for yourself. Either way is great. It's just, how I have chosen to be someone who is in the driver's seat in designing the life that I live, where my career fits into my life versus trying to squeeze my life into my career. I have to start first with knowing what drives me, what I value, what I actually care about at the end of the day, what really matters to me at the end of the day. And it's not so simple because I like a lot of things. I'm interested in a lot of things. I get excited about a lot of things. A lot of things inspire me. But at the end of the day, what fundamentally do I value? Those decisions drive that value set drives 80% of my decisions in life and actually lead me to a life of fulfillment and satisfaction regardless of the circumstances, because we can be satisfied with any situation. We can feel fulfilled in any situation, whether things are working or not working, if we are trued up to our true north and we are in alignment with that. And we are in the driver's seat of our life versus in some kind of default backseat. We're just sort of defaulted to wherever life is taking us. I hope that makes sense, and I'm not sure that I fully answered your question, but somebody is so overwhelmed that they don't have space to actually think about what matters to them and their values and create a vision for their life. And then I'm going to say, stop, declare a state of emergency, take a break, create space. The
Yeah.
world is not going to come collapsing down because you canceled a couple meetings and you took some time for personal well-being and to really assess what matters. And,
Yeah.
you're just not going to be productive trying to work on top of what's not working already. It's just, you're not going to get a better answer that way. So yeah, stop, drop, and roll. I need another stop, caffeinate, and rest. I don't know. I know I need another stop.
Let's
Roll.
caffeinate and then rest. I don't
I
think.
know. Okay, fair enough. Right.
Yes, I totally agree. And to jump back to something you said, I don't think it necessarily shows up as, oh, I'm missing values and vision. Like, I don't think there are accountants walking around going, oh, that's what I'm missing in my life. I think it shows up as exhaustion and overwhelm and dissatisfaction. And like, I worked so hard to get here and now I'm here and I don't like this. And so I think that's more the answer than it is the problem that's showing up. So I think this is a great conversation to have to say, hey, if you're feeling these things, maybe look here and see. Maybe you're not in alignment with your values and vision. Maybe you don't even know what those are. Take some time to figure out what those are, because that could be the first step to solving your exhaustion and your overwhelm and dissatisfaction with where you are. And it may take a complete, like, wipe the slate clean. I don't even want to be in accounting, or I do, but I don't want my corporate job. I want to go out on my own. The solution could be so many different things, but I think the first step is figure out what you really want, figure out who you truly are and what really matters to you. And then that will, like you said, that's your North Star that just, it becomes so clear the next step that you need to take.
Totally. I mean, I always say my personal mantra is know thyself and to thyself be true.
Yes.
And, when we're just, before I chose to live what I call an invented life, and that happened, I don't know, some of you may have heard my story. I've shared it a number of times in a variety of platforms, but the short version of it is I was in public and then in corporate. And I was in this corporate career I was traveling around the world doing, post M&A, integrating uh, different telecom finance departments, rolling them up into this one corporate unit and doing so all in different countries all over Europe and Australia, New Zealand. And I love travel and I loved, on paper, the career was great, but I worked probably 100 hours a week. I literally was so tired at one point that I remember I live in San Diego, so I was flying to Europe, which is like, I don't know, 11-hour flight. I'd work the entire flight there. I'd get there in the morning. I'd go into the office and I would work a full 10+ hour day. And I would be so exhausted at the end of the day. I remember one day I literally crawled under the desk in the fetal position so I could just get 20 minutes
Wow.
of sleep. I also remember, so in Europe, they're about 11 hours ahead of California. And I remember I was in my hotel room working. I had my room service tray sitting on the bed next to me when I'm using my laptop, and I had called back to corporate in San Diego to ask a question, and everyone had left for the day. And that was my experience. I mean, I barely saw anything. I was either in an airport or a hotel or in one of the offices. or transporting myself to and from. And so on paper, I had this incredible, awesome career, but in reality, I had ruined my relationship. I had no life. I was not taking care of myself. I was overworking and exhausted. And I was like a shell of a human being. I was deeply like, um, I was kind of numb. And I met a woman and her daughter, I think she was probably 10 at the time, and I don't know, I was in my late 20s, and we struck up a conversation and, asked me what I did, and I gave the answer that I knew the mom wanted to hear. And it was it's the one we all wear a mask, and it's the mask that we share with others. That's all neat and everything looks good. And, and she turns to her daughter and she says, oh, wow, wouldn't you like to be able to curse someday? And oh my gosh, the little girl looked at me like she like looked through my soul, and I just felt like, oh my gosh, I wanted to take the words back, because I knew in that moment it just was so unhappy and unfulfilled, that I'm like, she does not want to be like me. You don't want to be like me, right? And I wanted to like take it all back and say, look, figure out who you are, figure out what the life you want to live, and then go do that, go live that life. And that was a turning point for me, because I didn't say that in the moment. I didn't have the awareness I have now. And I literally have been paying that moment forward ever since, and threw my mask away and just started saying, this is who I am, warts and all. These are the challenges that I deal with every day or have dealt with. And these are the tools. And this is me. And being part of this conversation is me just saying, like, look, I don't have it all figured out. Like, I certainly have more tools in my toolbox than most people, because I've invested in that for the last 25 years of my life. But that moment where I had the realization that I was not living authentic and true to what I believed I was put on this planet for. And I believed I was given so many gifts that I wasn't using, and that I was not operating my life in service of those gifts. And I believe that I was put on this planet for a purpose, to have a positive impact on others. And so I did what I don't recommend anybody do. I quit my job and I went to Hawaii to go find myself. I needed the space to really discover who I am. And that moment, I call that defining moment. It was April 1st of 2000. Before that, I call it my default life. Everything I did was a default, based on the ideas and the imprinting I got from my mom and from people I observed in the media, and did all the things I thought I was supposed to do, but I was unhappy and unsatisfied. And then at that moment was a critical opportunity for me to shift into an invented life. It was a chance for me to say, well, who am I that I say that I am, versus what other people have said that I am. Great. I'm an exceptional accountant. Great. I can own that. I developed myself to be really good at my skills, but just because you're good at something doesn't mean that that's what you're supposed to do in your life. And I actually ended up, going through a very deep self-discovery process to really discover, who am I, and what do I want, and what do I value, and what do I care about. And mostly in the beginning, it was, well, I don't want that, and I don't want that, and I don't want that. So it was a lot of what I don't want before I could actually get to what I did want. And it took time. It wasn't like, I sat down one day and it was done. And I was guided a lot. I got very involved in personal development and meditation, and went to India to meditate with monks. And I was deeply committed to living a life of meaning and purpose. And I wanted to use my skills, and I wanted to use my expertise. So I say that because I don't want anyone left with this idea that you're going to sit down once and you're going to grab a piece of paper and you're going to figure it all out in one sitting. It's a process, and I would call it a process of self-discovery. And for some people who are getting started for the very first time, the only thing you might come up with is everything you don't want. But that's okay. Write that down too. Knowing what you don't want will give you access to discovering what it is you truly want. And we're so imprinted by our upbringing and our parents and our school education and society and the media and our friends that it takes a minute to really peel all of that away to really discover, what do I want? What's important to me? What's my life for? And at the end of our time in this life and in this existence, if I had to go reconcile how I chose to live my life, would I be satisfied with those choices? And if the answer right now is, if today was your last day and you got to look at all the choices you've made up until now, are you satisfied with the choices you've made up until now? And if not, is there anything that you would alter about how you choose to live your life? That when you did have that moment of reconciling, that you could truly look back and go, I lived my life to the fullest. I chose the things that were the most important to me, that mattered most to me, that I valued the most. And I prioritized those, we call them big rocks, over other important maybe, but not urgent perhaps, sorry, but not important. Um, and I don't have any regrets. And if you're not there, that's totally okay. That's perfect. That's why you're probably here. I would argue that you're here listening to this conversation for a reason. So that you could choose this moment right here, this one right now, to make it your line in the sand, your demarcation. And everything before this moment is your default life. And everything that follows is your invented life. And you can actually just right now, if you want to write this on a piece of paper, you can. I declare that I am the creator. Those of you who are spiritual, put that in the proper context, right? But I am the inventor of, I am living an invented life. I am, for me, I said that I was going to only live my life from a place of answering every call. I feel like every business venture I've launched since that moment where I declared myself to live an invented life is that I would be called. I would be called. It would be a call from my spirit, my soul, from my higher power.
Beautiful.
And
Yeah. Go ahead.
so I just like, this is a moment you can literally choose it right now for yourself.
Yes.
And then the actions will follow.
Yeah. Yeah. And just as you said, it's a journey, right? It's a journey to even discover what those values are. But even when you have them, it doesn't mean, like, even when you've nailed them down and you understand where you want your life to go, it also doesn't mean that you can't get off track. Because it's really easy. I mean, there's so many things pulling you in different directions. Life is just pulling you in different directions sometimes. So once you know those values and know where the vision that you want for your life, how do you keep all of that front and center when opportunities or expectations pull you in different directions?
Oh, I love this question. It's actually a very simple answer. It's like training. It's like, it's like brushing your teeth. It's like exercise. It's not permanent. So you can make this declaration, you can take a stand for your life right now and say, this from here forward, this is the life I'm choosing to live. And it has about a 5-minute shelf life. And then life happens. and then poof, it's gone. So think of what I'm about to say as legs under a tabletop. The more legs under this table you put, the stronger this table is. Having having a community that shares similar values and be able to use that community to keep those values alive for yourself, because if you kind of go unconscious to them, there are other people who are keeping it alive for you because they're like in the space of it and sharing, their inspired life from those set of values that you all commonly share. And so you're all kind of feeding each other, and we're keeping it alive for each other. That's the biggest thing, bar none. It's the reason why if you suffer with any type of addiction, we'll just use the more common one. Let's say you have, or someone has an addiction to alcohol. Well, the first thing you need to do is remove yourself from the environment that feeds that addiction and put yourself in an environment that feeds the future version of yourself. So hang around people who don't drink and don't expect you to drink, and and so if you're around people and you're in an environment, people who don't share your values, don't see you as valuable, or even your family, a lot of times they just see you as your past. They see you as the person you always were, and they're not able yet to view you in the light of who you're creating yourself to be. And so they kind of keep pulling you back into the older version of who you were versus lifting you up to the person you're becoming and the person you're creating yourself to become. So having a community, having mentors and other professionals that support you in getting more tools, all of these things put more legs under the table, and investing in some amount of personal development. It's not all about CPE and growing yourself and your technical ability. It's also about you investing in growing your mindset, growing your ability to operate in life as a human being. And I was actually going to suggest, Nicole, we have inside of the CPA Moms community, I had created a course, an online course called the Personal Vision Course. And it's something that we took all of our clients, our accounting professionals that we've helped leave their jobs and launch their own practice. We always started every single one of them with this personal vision exercise. And I think it would probably be really helpful for those that are committed and interested and willing to maybe offer that. Um, if you're okay, maybe for free to the people who are listening, and give the people listening a code to get that online course for free. And it will help you, if I remember correctly, it'll help you create a 5-year vision for yourself. And I think also help guide you through creating your values. It's been a minute since I've done it, but how do you feel about giving that course away to the listeners?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think it's definitely a good starting point for
Okay.
them to start developing that.
Well, let's use, I'm going to make up a code right now because we didn't have this plan. This is sort of on the spot. Let's use, what do we want to use as a code? True North.
Okay,
That's your code to get the course for free. So we'll get that set up and make sure that um, it's in the show notes, that those that are interested in taking a step in that direction, that you have access to that course.
awesome. Well, yeah, so I mean, some of the things that you said definitely resonate with me, because if anyone on here has heard my story, you have heard me talk about how invigorating it was to begin exploring my values and my vision, but then how easily I slipped right back into the daily grind. And I mean, you said it's like I think you said a 5 second or
5 minute shelf life.
minute shelf life. Yes. And I mean, that's what it was, right? Like I was so excited and like, yes, let me create my life. And then I just, again, so easily slipped right back into, oh, but I'm an accountant and I must work 60 hours a week and I must just focus on it and work harder. And, take client calls during family time because this is what they expect from me and I just have to do this. And so some of the things that helped me, community for sure, CPA moms and having the mentoring there and training and just personal development, as you said, to pull me back and say, wait a minute, this is not what you wanted. But also, creating and keeping boundaries, communicating well to my clients and to my family, putting accountability checks in place, revisiting my values and a vision on a regular basis so they are top of mind, and creating my schedule with, as you called them, those big rocks in mind were all things that I really had to make sure that I was putting in place and doing on a regular basis so I didn't get pulled back into that daily accounting grind that we are all so familiar with. And I think sometimes it can feel like we are sacrificing something in order to maintain these values. So it can be really easy to pull back in because it's like, oh, but look at all the things I'm missing out on, instead of focusing on, but this is the life I'm creating, this is the life I want, you kind of focus on those things that are in the here and now, because that's kind of future, right? Or just ongoing creating this, but this is right here, right now. This is tangible. I want to grab this right now, even if it doesn't align with what I want. So, as you said, I think it just takes practice, progress over perfection. You get off track, you course correct, you drift, you pull yourself back over and over and over again. What advice would you give to a woman that is maybe afraid that building a life first or family first career means that she won't be taken seriously or she's not going to earn as much money as she thinks she could if she only focuses on her career?
Well, I'm gonna say it using an analogy I think most of the professionals listening can understand. When you do the work that we're describing, which is expanding, ultimately, we're causing the women that we work with to expand who they are. Expand, elevate, whatever words resonate with you. And if you think about, so the question almost assumes that there's a finite amount that's being allocated. And what's actually happening is that we're expanding the container so that it all fits. And the container is you. So here's something that, I can prove that this is a true thing, that you have the capacity to expand. So at some point, for those of you who are parents, at some point you were a single human walking around the world, and then you then you had a child, and the same 24 hours that were available to you and seven days a week that were available to you before you were a parent versus after a parent are still available. You didn't get a baby and 7 more hours a day. You somehow expanded so that you could have a career and have a child, even though the child never really fit If you looked at it before you had a child, that child doesn't fit into your life because you probably filled your life up with stuff. But then all of a sudden you had one and it fit. And then you had maybe another one and that one fit. So how is that? You didn't expand time, but you expanded your capacity to be a mother and a career person. And if you chose that, right? Not everyone chose to have children and have a career, but I'm saying many do. And how in the heck did they do that? Now, half of you feel like I did it, but I feel like I'm failing. Put that aside for a minute. I'm just talking about time. Like that child fits into your life. So what we're just what we're trying to point to is that we're not talking about moving the pieces around of a finite container and its contents. We're talking about expanding who you are, and in the expansion of who you are, how do you put all the pieces that is your life, governed and driven by your core values and your vision for yourself and your life? How then does your career fit in the spaces that you're allotting for your career and your family and your well-being and your relationships and your family and fun and your financial wealth building, whatever, right? Like it all fits, but not in the container that you have right now. And that container is you. The opportunity is to expand who you are, and all of these pieces begin to fit. But it starts with you. It starts with each of us. And then we create our life. And then we put our career in our life. We put our family in there, our children, our well-being, our friends, our hobbies. And if there's not enough space, as you want more and want to put more in it, great, then expand the bowl bigger. Create a bigger container that is you. Elevate yourself. Because what limits us is up here, not what's out there. It's why you can look at a human being that has the same 24 hours that you do, and yet somehow they're managing $10 billion companies and running the country, and oh, by the way, ending poverty on this planet, or like people who are doing things and you're just like, I'm sorry, huh? What? Oh, and their parents. It's like you're doing all that and you're a parent and you're not burned out. Like what? I don't understand. It's because this got shifted. We're limited mainly by the limitations that we create in our own minds, our own belief systems. And so as those get shifted and evolve to a version that aligns with the life that we really want, then there's enough space for all of it to exist in the same 24 hours that everyone else has.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect example. I say all of the time, like before I had kids, I felt like I had no time left in the day. And now I look back and I like laugh about it because I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is having no time left in the day. I had all the time in the world back then. So,
And then you added having your own practice
yes.
and building a team.
Yep.
And then you're like, and then for sure I don't have any more time. And then now you're out to cause an impact with women in our industry and hosting a podcast and running a community and running your own firm and raising your own kids, and somehow that suddenly fits into your life. Like you keep expanding
Yes.
who you are so that you have space to continue to add the aspects of life that are important to you. You said when I met you 5 years ago, 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago,
Like 6 years.
I remember it vividly, that you have always had a vision for helping and empowering women. Initially, when we talked, it was about women who had been like domestic abuse or something in that domain.
Yes.
And when people share their vision for their life with me, it's something I don't know that even you realize this, but I feel like I have like a magic wand that I carry around with me and sprinkle fairy dust all over people's visions. It's like when you share your vision with me, it's like I'm like a co-creator with you in having that vision be realized. And in this particular instance, I legitimately am a co-creator with you realizing your vision around supporting and empowering women
Yes.
because you said so. It started with just taking a minute, discovering what mattered to you, determining what your values were, creating a vision, declaring a vision, and then taking steps in that direction. You didn't know, I can say I didn't know this is where we would be 6 years later. But in the moment that you said that, could you have imagined that this is what you'd be doing to support and empower women?
Oh, for sure. No,
Did
absolutely not.
you?
It's definitely been a journey.
Yeah, it unfolded. But
Yes.
did you always come back to, as you were deciding, should I grow my firm? Should I do this? Should I do that? Didn't this vision, wasn't this part of something that helped you decide this way or that way?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, it all goes back to, again, my values and my vision of maybe not knowing specifically what, but it's very important to me to empower and support other women. And so every decision that comes along, again, it goes back to keeping my values and vision front of mind and constantly reminding me of them. Then it's easy to each decision go, oh, well, this one is the one choice I need to make. That leads me to my values and vision, not off track here. So that's definitely.
And it's not linear. It's not like you do this so that you can get that. Like a lot of the decisions are, does it move me in the direction of, like you said, as opposed to if I do this, well, then I'd be able to then support women. It wasn't that like, this step is, you just could, I imagine, maybe I'm speaking out of turn here, but for me, I have a sense that this is going to move me towards and this is going to move me away.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, little things like when you came to me, do you want to help or step into a role to mentor other franchise owners? Well, yes, that takes me in the direction I want. That's building me up and giving me practice in something that I want to do. So, that was the first kind of yes that moved me in that direction. So, yeah, I would say it was never a linear path and, oh, I will get here. It was just this aligns with that. Let's go that way. For sure.
Yeah, I think I'm going to add to the answer that you asked me earlier, like what's important that helps you keep your vision alive when life is not trying to have you keep your vision alive. Your life and your brain are designed to keep you alive and survive. It's not interested in vision and values. That's not the design of your brain. Your brain is about survival. So this is a very advanced way to exist as a human being. It's a very intentional way to live your life as a human being. Most people don't live like this. And so there's very few examples of this in the world that you can model. But one of the things that I wanted to add is I'm having this back and forth conversation with you, this dialogue, is what I have had in my coaches and my mentors is a term that has been used by my mentors, which is called a committed listener. And who I am for you, Nicole, and who I am for the women of this community and have been, is a committed listener. So when you discover, and I help, we can help you discover what your values are and what your vision is. But once that's discovered, having somebody whose role it is in your life to listen to and view you from a lens of what it is you wrote down that you said you wanted without any evidence that you can get there, without any evidence that you've ever done it in the past. But I can listen to you, Nicole, and I did 6 years ago when you said, this is what I want to create, this is who I am, this is what I envision for my life. Then as your committed listener, I'm now suddenly and immediately only listening for that. So when you ask me, well, what do you think about this opportunity and should I do that? I am your mirror going, well, is that going to bring you closer to this vision of becoming da 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 da? So you get those built-in reminders of your vision and values, because that 5 minute shelf life, when left to your own devices in your own brain that's not interested in that vision, it's interested in, did you survive today? Your brain's not going to remind you. But as your committed listener, my job is to only listen to you from the version of you that you said you wanted to become, and nothing else. Not your past, not your accomplishments, not even who you are right now in the present moment, but who you said you were committed to becoming. And that's a rare person to have in your life. That's the mentor, the coach that is trained to be a committed listener. Our parents are not committed listeners. Our family are not committed listeners. And most of, I'd say you, because I've developed friendships and relationships of women who are committed listeners very intentionally. It took a lot of time to develop my inner circle of friendships. And it was like starting from scratch. Everything in my life is invented. My relationship, where I live, my friendships, everything I have was never going to happen based on where I came from, my upbringing, the poverty that I grew up in, my mom being a single mom, not even speaking the language barely. All these things were never going to lead me to where I am today had I not chosen to literally become the inventor and creator and choosing every aspect of my life and creating every aspect of my life. And so if you're relying on, and even I I even hesitate to have people share with people who are not identified as committed listeners, sharing with some friends and some family members, some of them unconsciously, unknowingly, and non intentionally kill your dream before you've even taken a single step in that direction. Because, oh, you can't do that. What makes you think you can do that? Well, last time you tried something like that, look at how that went.
Yes, I've definitely experienced that. So, I mean, thank you to you for being that committed listener for me, for sure.
Well, thank you for taking on your vision and becoming the creator of your own life. I'm simply a mirror of what you created. I'm just a mirror back to you of your own creation. And it's you that has to take the steps and the actions. It's you that has to make the difficult choices of, am I going to go right, or am I going to move towards my vision or away from my vision? It's you ultimately that designs this life. So you're here because of your commitment and um your unwillingness to live your life any other way than the one that you designed it to be.
Thank you.
I'm just a witness. I get to see it. I get to enjoy um watching you, which is one of my greatest joys.
All right, everyone. Well, I hope this conversation gives you permission to pause and ask yourself what you really want, not what you've been told to want or what you think that you should do in your life. 'Cause designing your career around your life it's really powerful. I mean, I hope that message at least came through in this. It is life-changing, it is powerful, it is beautiful. So just take a moment today to reflect, am I building a life that I love or just a life that I can manage? Mayumi, thank you so much for being here with me today.
Thank you.
That's it for today's episode. At CPA Moms, we believe that women can have a successful career and raise a happy family. Ready to embrace work-life harmony and connect with like-hearted women? Join our CPA Moms Facebook community. Just click the link in the show notes or search CPA Moms on Facebook. We can't wait to welcome you. Until next time, thank you for being here. We see you, we believe in you, and we can't wait to grow with you.